The mics are hot, and so's the gossip. Let's get into it in 3.
Welcome to In 3. I'm Danielle Graham.
And I'm Caleigh.
And we are so happy to be back. I, for one, am happy that March break is over. Shout out to all the parents who survived the March break. We did it.
You did it.
And I'm back online. We were at the cottage for a few days with no internet, which was super weird, but then also really nice.
Yeah, it's almost like the universe is like, Danielle,
Yeah.
pause, please.
Yeah. I had a lot of catching up to do, though. So I feel like a lot of download on the celebrity information and the celebrity happenings, but
Yeah.
I'm ready to go today.
Do you feel refreshed?
Yeah, at first it was a bit of a panic. We really tried to panic fix the situation.
Yeah.
And then once we realized we couldn't, we leaned in. The kids were calling it the olden days. They were
Well-
like, is this like the olden days? And I said, yeah, this is what it was like.
This is how we all lived our whole lives and
Yeah.
survived, and we were fine.
Yeah.
And lived to tell a tale.
That's right.
You did take some cute photos, though.
We did. It was really nice, honestly. Like, we loved it so much that Randall actually said, maybe we don't need internet up there. And I was like, that's going a bit far. We do.
Do you know what? I have some friends who are a little bit more conservative in their Jewish faith, and Shabbat is something that sort of allows and almost forces families that carry that tradition to to completely unplug. Because there's a thing about like electronics and shutting things down, and it really forces you to go inward. And when I hear my friends who, again, follow those traditions, it's such a beautiful thing. And, you know, in this day and age, we have so few moments when we're away from our phones. Like, don't lie. We all have gone to the bathroom with our phones.
Yes.
I have podcasts on while I'm in the shower. Yeah. I'm watching shows while I'm on the treadmill.
I'm watching shows while I'm on my phone every night.
Literally. So
Yeah.
it's like there are very few moments where we actually allow ourselves to be unplugged. I was away, still plugged in. But I
true.
love that the universe did that for you.
It was really
It's
nice.
like a gift.
Yeah, and it was with my parents, my brother and his family, and it really did mean that we were like together
Yeah.
and like meant like a lot of conversations. We always are really chatty and very engaged, but it was just even more so. It
I
was
love
great.
that.
Yeah, it was
I
nice.
love that. Well, speaking of being on the treadmill and plugging in, I was keeping up this morning with the Kardashians.
As you do.
I do.
Thank you for your work.
Yes, you know, I keep up so that I can fill you in. And what I realized today, you know how we always talk about like, what Sex and the City character are you?
Yeah.
We can talk about it another time. I actually am curious.
Well, now I just realized in this moment, I don't know.
Yeah. That's something to think about.
It is.
But then I started thinking about which Kardashian are we? And I realized who you are. And it's actually not who you think.
Okay. On 3, you tell me who you think I am, and I'll tell you who I think I am.
Okay.
In 3.
3,
2, 1.
Chloe.
Kourtney.
I actually knew you were going to say that. Don't sell yourself short.
I love Kourtney.
Okay.
Okay. No, tell me why I'm Chloe.
No shade to Kourtney. Okay, so you're Chloe.
Because?
Well, a few things. One, Chloe loves Dolly.
Okay.
Okay, so if we're carrying a thread from last week's episode,
Yep.
she's obsessed with Dolly to the point where she had a Dollywood themed 40th birthday party.
Okay.
Which I love.
Love.
She's also a little bit OCD about the home.
That's me.
Okay. She likes things how she likes them.
That is. So she's a type A person like me.
She's a
with
type A
with
person.
touch of OCD.
She's a caregiver. She cares for everyone. She has the biggest heart.
Yes.
But like also like a sharp tongue. Like she's a sharp-minded gal.
Okay.
And the woman loves a corset.
I am she. She is I. I am
Chloe.
Chloe. Okay. In 3, we're going to name you.
Oh,
in
God. Oh,
3.
no. Wait, I'm not ready.
What? It's so obvious.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. I always thought I was a Chloe until today. And then I realized you're a Chloe.
You're a Kim.
Am I?
Yes. You are a fierce businesswoman. You are ahead of your time. You are a futurist. You are a person who creates trends. You are a connector of people. You are gorgeous and into the beauty space. Like,
Okay,
you are
thanks.
wellness. You are all of
Oh
these
my
things.
God, that's so nice. Well, I don't know, because sometimes I feel like, and the reason why I've always related to Chloe is because she's like kind of like she was always sort of the awkward one of the family. And I always felt that like that was my position in the family. I was kind of this like, hadn't quite figured it out. And my mom also told me last month, she confirmed I was a late bloomer. just in terms of like coming into myself and
Yeah.
like becoming who I am. And I feel like that's Chloe. Like, and Kim has always been who she is. So maybe that's why, but thank you. I'll take it.
funny
You know
how-
what? I'll take it.
You know what? You absolutely are. I also think there is a real gift in being a late bloomer. I too was a late bloomer.
You think?
Oh, big time.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't
I
think
wouldn't say that about you.
Oh, yeah, no, I was. Like, I was the kid wearing undershirts when everyone was wearing bras. I was playing with Barbies when they were kissing boys. Like, I was legit a late,
in those
late.
ways, I wasn't a late bloomer.
Oh, okay. We know you kissed.
I think we're talking about different
You
things.
kissed all. No, but I was also a late bloomer in, like, no, I guess, like, I knew what I wanted to do early on. But I don't think I was overly comfortable with myself until like much later.
Okay, fair.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I was underwire and makeouts at 12. So
That's horrifying. I have a 9-year-old almost.
not makeouts. I'm just kidding. I wasn't making out, but I was really into boys, and I developed early. It was a challenge.
And I was also like, I say this and I mean this, and it's so true. I was just not very cute. I just wasn't. There's photos, we could put them up if we want. I just wasn't like, my friends were super cute. I just wasn't the cutest, prettiest one of the bunch. I just wasn't.
Maybe
and
it's what forced you to be as dynamic as you are. And then
Maybe.
you caught up.
Thanks.
Don't worry. You
I
caught up.
spawned much later.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Okay.
Not saying I'm, a Giselle Bundchen or anything, but like... There was an improvement as time went on. And now we're on the decline because we're in our 40s, but it's fine.
You're closer to Giselle than you know. And yes, we are in our 40s, but Chloe would say this is going to be our best decade.
I actually believe that.
Yeah. She's like the only person that I've seen who literally was counting down the days to 40 because she was so excited to enter a new decade. Now we know Chloe has been through it.
Yeah, big time.
In her 30s. And she was like just really ready to ring in a new decade. And I was a little apprehensive, but seeing her own it is inspiring.
It is. Here we are.
Late blooming and all.
I love it.
Yeah.
Look at us.
I love it too. So we are going to talk about the Kardashians later in the episode.
Yes, we are.
Because we have to talk about, unfortunately, we're going to talk about Kanye and Kim. But before we do that,
yes,
we're going to kick things off with a topic I am so excited to talk about, which is Tom Cruise and his new romance.
Yes.
Now, I did not have Tom Cruise on my bingo card, but here we are.
Here we are. So the big three, we've got Tom Cruise, new girlfriend. Jessica Simpson, our girl, is back out there. I know you love her.
She's doing the thing.
She's out there.
I do.
And of course, the Kanye and Kim of it all. And then at the end, we have to talk about, and we're thrilled to have to talk about, Millie Bobby Brown.
Another one that I've been like,
Yeah.
okay, we got to put this on the list at some point because I've been really excited to talk about Millie.
Yes. All right. Let's kick it off with Tom Cruise.
Yes.
And this is now the second spotting with Ana de Armas.
Indeed.
Indeed it is. So this started last month. They were spotted in London together.
Yeah, on Valentine's Day.
That is a really key detail.
Yes.
Because a Valentine's Day dinner.
Yes.
I mean, it can't be, it didn't feel like it could be a casual friendship dinner. That's a very specific day.
And as we know, I just think we know too much to think that they were accidentally spotted together on Valentine's Day. Like
Correct.
we know too much about the machine and about the media and the paparazzi. We know that if people want to be anonymous, if they want to fly under the radar, they will do that. And to me, what's going on here between Tom and Ana feels like a hard launch. To be honest,
you're right. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce had vanished for well over a month. Okay, they were just resurfaced in the last few days. So you're right. You can vanish if you want, and you can be seen if you want. So that was last month, and now again, a few days ago, they were spotted again, coming from a helicopter,
which
is very cozy, isn't it?
It's very Mission Impossible.
It is.
Like, and Tom doesn't declare things. We know that Tom is not demure about his affection for women. When he's in love, he goes big.
He jumps on a couch.
Couch jumping, and he's renting helicopters, and he's doing all the things. Now,
Oh, you think that was a sexy move, the helicopter rental?
oh my God, yes.
You thought it was like, I'm Tom Cruise, I can't pull up in a sedan. I need to enter via helicopter?
Like, I'm surprised like he didn't parachute out with some kind of sign that says I love you. Like, this is his move. And he's
my
also the Mission Impossible guy. He's the guy that does all of his own stunts. He probably flew that helicopter.
Well, you know what though? She had said, Ana de Armas had said that what she admired so much about Tom was his stunt work, and she knew the work that went into stunt work, and she's working on her own stunts.
Oh, that's
as well. Like, she's obsessed with his stunt work. So I don't know. For me, a helicopter is if that was a sexy move, that's an ick for me.
Is it?
Big time.
Oh.
Coming in way too hot like that for me is ugh.
He's a love bomber for sure.
I went on a first date once to Niagara Falls.
Okay.
Okay. This was a first date. And this person, I hope they don't listen. We was supposed to be just like a fun kind of wine tour thing in Niagara on the lake. And then we ended up in the falls. Fine. And then he was like, oh, let's just walk down here. He had rented a horse-drawn carriage. Okay. And went along the falls in the winter looking at the Christmas lights. And it was like clippity-clop, clippity-clop.
No.
I've never met anyone like you before, Danielle. Clippity-clop, clippity-clop.
I mean,
where
that's...
do you think, I'm like, I want to die right now. I would jump into Niagara Falls if I could get out of this horse-drawn carriage.
Do less.
Do less.
Do less.
Anyway, so you think this was a love bombing, Mission Impossible style date?
Yes,
Wow.
I do. I really do.
Okay.
They both have a particular type, it would seem, and this fits into both their types. Now, let's talk about Tom's type for a second.
Yes.
Because obviously we know he was married to Nicole Kidman.
Yep. And Katie Holmes.
And there was the Katie Holmes of it all, which we'll also get into. But in between, some of the lower key relationships that he's had are with Spanish-speaking women. There's about 6 I can think of off the top of my head.
Come on.
Yes. Okay. Sofia Vergara.
What?
Penelope Cruz.
Oh, right. I forgot about that one.
Remember?
Yeah.
Now we have Ana de Armas.
Yeah.
There was also Shakira.
Tom Cruise dated Shakira?
He sure did.
Where was I?
And most recently, a Spanish singer called Victoria Canal.
Okay. So there is a bit of a type there.
I mean, I just named a half a dozen women.
Yeah. So
He clearly has a type.
He does.
And she most notably has dated our guy,
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck.
Was that pre-back tattoo?
I think it was back tattoo era.
It was, yeah. It was 2020.
They were
So,
together like peak COVID.
Yeah.
And they were also very public about they were not hiding anything.
No, she shared him on social media.
Yeah, she really did.
Yep.
Now back to Katie for a second.
Okay.
It is the 20th anniversary of the couch jumping incident.
It is not.
It is.
I can picture it like I can picture the birth of my children. It is like burned in my mind.
Oh
the
my God.
set, the lighting, his outfit, Oprah. Like, I can picture the whole thing as if I was there.
I actually watched it again last night because I
Does it still hit?
love. Oh my God, it hits so hard. Oprah, I think, was also like in complete shock of what was going on. And she just kept saying, he's gone, because he was like literally out of his mind.
So unhinged.
Okay, so he did the couch jump, but he also did this. It was a lot of...
What is that? Like, that is like,
I don't know, but I had to demonstrate because like,
my God.
there was a few couch jumps, which I tried to do yesterday. Of course, I'm like, I got to see how hard this is. It's actually quite difficult.
can you go from the floor to the couch?
I can, but
You're
like, I
very
don't want to
sporty.
break my face either. But of course I had to challenge myself, but the down in the, it's almost like what's that plane movie that he does?
What is
The
that?
Top Gun.
Oh my God.
It's like a very Top Gun moment.
Yeah.
He's so dramatic. Anyway, so I think the helicopter really fits in well here.
You really think it all comes together?
Yeah, like it really
Okay.
tracks for him.
Okay, so there is major denial that this is a relationship.
Is there?
Oh yeah, that this is just they
What
are
are
getting to
they?
know each other because they want to work on a project together.
Sure.
There's talks of and my husband's going to be thrilled about this, as I'm sure yours will too. Days of Thunder coming back, so like
Okay.
a Days of Thunder reboot with Anna in it. So they're saying no, they're just friends.
Have a lunch.
Yeah,
Have a lunch.
have a lunch in Utah.
Right.
Right? Why are we helicoptering into London? Okay. And then the other thing that comes into play with the Tom Cruise possible romance that cannot be ignored
Yes.
the Scientology piece.
Well, you said it.
Like, have we all forgotten about Leah Remini and shout out Mike Rinder and Scientology and the aftermath and what happens if you go in and you try to get out or you start to become close in proximity to him? It's a little bit scary.
It's really scary.
Yeah.
It's like we don't play around with this. This is no joke.
No, this
like
is
Katie
like
Holmes had to escape.
That is a full-on cult. And there is no escape,
and
as we saw from that show.
I do think you're right. We forget about these things. It gets buried under the new movies and him laying low and like all of that kind of stuff. And we have very short memories of these things. But let's not forget.
Let's not forget.
That was huge. And we were together working at the entertainment show during the time of like Katie packing her bags in the middle of the night and escaping that home with him. And then now
she's
protecting
a survivor.
Her. She's a literal survivor. And she's a hero.
But he's he's really adjusted his Scientology, like how out there he is with it. He was so out there and so vocal, and he was the face of the organization. And now it's kind of, he's still in, obviously, but it's not the thing he talks about so much because I think it really was in a lot of ways damaging. But make no mistake, he is very much a Scientologist.
Yeah, he's at the top of the food chain.
He really is. He runs that thing. He's 62 or 63. She's 36.
I was going to ask you, what is our feeling on the age gap? So when he was with Katie, we all thought it was like a pretty significant age gap, but Katie is 10 years older than Anna.
Okay. So this is a big one.
This is almost 30 years.
It is indeed. Yeah. He's looking good though. You know, he's kept himself.
I mean, one thing he does is self-care.
And really, he's a very charming, very dynamic, really nice guy.
I believe that.
He really is.
I believe that.
He's just part of a really crazy cult.
Yes.
And for that reason, I'm out.
It's a no for me, dog. Yeah.
Like, dun, 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 dun.
Nope. Also, he's a wee man.
That's the other thing I noticed in the Anna photos. They are the same height.
So he's probably like 5'4" now.
He's like my height. I know. That's probably why he can do his own stunts.
No,
you know,
just less to carry.
A tight rig like that. you can barrel roll out of just about anything. Rig.
I can't. Oh my God, that is so funny.
I say that and I literally hurt my neck sneezing this morning. It's not true.
I get that.
Okay.
Yeah. Moving on.
Moving on to our girl, Jessica Simpson. She is back out there. So the new album, I think, drops this week.
Yeah.
She gave a performance, first one in a very, very long time, and had a lot to say at the top of that performance about her life now and where things are.
She did.
Yes, she did.
She did.
So Jessica said she opened up the show and was just very happy to be back out there. And she said, and I have to read this because it's important because it goes back to my theory. She said, I was out in Nashville and had my heart wide open. I was in a very intuitive state and I just had to ask some very personal questions on the home front. And I found out that my world had been turned upside down and that life was now very different. Right? So when we learned about the split, however many weeks ago that was.
Yeah, many. But except 8 or 9 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was maybe like episode 1 or 2 of our show.
Yeah.
Her statement was cryptic about navigating a very difficult time in their marriage. And I said to you.
Yeah, and being shocked, right?
Yeah, shocked and very difficult time. And I said to you, well, it sounds like he stepped out.
Yeah.
And now I think she's just confirmed.
She's definitely confirmed.
That's what's happened.
And the lyrics of her music are like,
right.
Okay. Yeah. So the particulars of the statement, my question is, she's painting a picture from my perspective that she basically was feeling something in her gut was telling her something was wrong.
Yeah. So and we never ignore that as women, especially.
Never.
We never ignore that.
99.9999999% right.
Yep.
So she had this gut feeling. She went to her husband and she asked him,
what's going on? Yeah.
And then he came clean. Like, that's what I feel like she's telling us.
That's what it read to me. And I guess either he came clean or she found out or something like that. But she learned something.
Right.
And then that severed her marriage. So she is, as she said, I am a very single lady.
Bye, Felicia. He was a bum from the get. Like,
I love the word bum. It's not used often enough.
Truly.
He's a bum.
He's a bum. Get him out of here. Oh my God. No, Jessica I can feel it. She's in her thriving era. And obviously, I'm sure this was a very difficult period. This is the father of her children. And they were together for so long.
Yeah.
What was it, 15 years or something like that?
Something like that. It was a long time. Now, I will say, when I heard her say, I am a very single lady, I just pictured like a bat signal going up and John Mayer being like, what's that?
John Mayer, let's make it happen.
Oh my, it can't. It can't.
No, it
He's
has to.
He's bad news. No, we got to find someone else for Jess. Well, maybe she just needs a minute.
I think I don't think they'll spend their lives together, but if she wants to go and do that napalm thing with him
And feel good.
and just feel a little bit of that kind of spark back, I don't think that would be the worst thing.
Yeah, she really is in her turquoise jewelry era.
Well, I was going to say, we need to talk about the outfit.
Yeah, it's for me, it was giving Sedona. Had a lot of like Superstition Mountains or whatever they are out there.
You know the piece of advice, the fashion advice, where it's like, before you leave the house, take off one accessory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like the last thing you put on.
Take it off. For me, it's just makeup. It's like always the last thing I add, I regret it. Don't do it.
Don't do it. It's good advice.
For Jess, I feel like just maybe like one last thing. She's got the leopard. She's got the lace
shrug.
When
was the last time you saw a shrug?
It's been a minute.
No, you shop online. I shop online. I see what's happening.
Shruggy,
no, a shrug goes up here and it goes just under the boobs.
True.
And it doesn't do up. It is like literally a useless piece of clothing. It's not warm. It's not comfortable. It's not cozy. It's none of those things. It's like a doily on top.
It was a shoulder doily.
It was a shoulder doily.
And then she had, you're right, she had a double belt. I think it was like a double turquoise belt. And
heavy turquoise.
And then it was turquoise rings, turquoise bracelets, turquoise necklaces.
With the leopard underpinning.
With the leopard as the base.
It was
something to be seen. I mean, she looks, let's be clear, she looks amazing.
She does. It's just,
she looks better than ever. Like really, really in her skin.
And I think, a lot of those pieces I think I've seen in the Jessica Simpson collection that she sells. So it's possible she was wearing her own stuff, but it's not a look I've seen in 2025. It was just a little bit, I don't know. It wasn't even from the olden days. No. It was, I don't know what day it was from, but clearly
it was definitely, she was feeling herself 100%. And I think I just read an interview with her and her sister Ashley in The Cut.
I saw that.
And she talks a lot about the pressures that she felt back in the day to really conform into the box that the executives want her to fit into, or that the fans wanted her to fit into. And really never getting to be truly herself. And that's sort of how she lost her way, I think, was just all of this pressure and not really knowing who she was. And now, like, if you need to wear a leopard and a doily and
all the turquoise
and all of the turquoise in the world to feel like yourself, I am absolutely here for it.
Yeah, I am too. And perhaps a trend is starting. Perhaps we'll see you in a few weeks decked out in some turquoise.
You never know.
You never know. I love Jess. I love her for a lot of reasons. I think she took a lot of heat. Yeah. I think she was treated really cruelly and unfairly. Agreed. I think she was also overlooked as a singer in a lot of ways. Like, she is a really great singer.
Yeah.
She's been through a lot of personal struggles, family struggles, parents' illness. Like, she's been through a lot, and she is. I think at the end of the day, she's like a down home kind of girl. Yes. And I really do love her.
Yeah.
But do you like her music is my question. Are you a fan of the Jessica Simpson songs and music, apart from I'm Gonna Love You Forever?
Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
You do.
Yeah.
You love Jessica Simpson's music.
We've talked about this. I feel very connected to Jess.
I know you do.
Actually, before I came here, I was listening to one of my favorite radio shows on Radio Andy, and they were playing one of her songs that I love.
Which one?
It's called Public Affair.
Nope.
All the girls coming out for a public affair.
That was from my YTV days, I think.
Stop, 'cause the party don't stop.
Right. Like With You was also...
I love that music.
Okay,
wait, you don't love that music?
Well, I guess I just couldn't name more than 2 songs, but now there's 3, so maybe there's more.
Oh, no.
I just feel like if I had to...
We can say a lot of things about her, but
You love her music.
I love her music.
Okay. I love Britney's music more. Not that we need to compare,
for
but of-
sure.
From
I mean,
if we were going to look at the three from that era.
Jess, Britney, and
Christina.
Christina.
Yeah.
I just don't think they're comparable.
Okay.
They all hold a special place in my heart.
Okay.
They're all number ones for me.
Okay.
This music that she's putting out now,
How are you vibing that?
it's very country leaning.
Right.
She's obviously getting a lot off her chest. It's a little angry. I'm so happy for her.
Same.
And I do feel like the best albums come from places of like turmoil and just processing raw feelings, and you can really sense that in the music that she's putting out now. It's very different from anything she's ever put out.
It is.
I don't think I would casually listen to that in the backyard. Quite like I would with her old music. But listen, I'm here for this era.
Me too.
And she just says she doesn't care what people think. She's doing the music that she wants. She's wearing the outfits that she wants. She's doing what she wants, and let's get it,
Which
girl.
she couldn't have done for, really her entire life.
Right.
I had a thought. In an alternate universe, on a different timeline, could Jessica Simpson have been the host of Love is Blind?
Whoa.
Right?
You just blew my mind. Sliding doors.
In a sliding doors
I
moment.
would much prefer that.
I
let's
would
be
too.
honest.
Oh my God, it would have been so fun. She's so fun.
She
and
really
so funny.
is so fun. And she's just the original self-deprecating
Yeah.
billionaire.
I'm curious to see the next romance in her life. That'll be an interesting one.
It will be. I just hope that she finds herself and feels worthy of someone a little bit above
Yeah.
that level.
Really good point.
Because I think that she really settled. I said it. Sorry.
She did settle. Yeah,
and
I
maybe
bet-
he was great at one point and maybe he supported her. But I do feel like her marrying him was a reflection of her feeling like she couldn't have the Tony Romos anymore.
Right. How she felt about herself at the time. The story
She was the
told
original Taylor
herself.
Swift.
She really was.
Because remember, she was the original wag
Yeah, she was.
at those football games. And she was not. I mean, Taylor got booed once. Jessica got booed every single
time.
game.
I forgot about that.
Crazy.
Man, that woman has been through some things.
She really has.
She really has.
We
Well, we're
wish her
happy she's back,
well.
even in all that turquoise. And we're not hating. We're just,
No.
Now the next story is Kanye. We have actually intentionally chosen not to speak about Kanye for a number of reasons.
Yep.
Just one of the most vile people on planet Earth.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it. I'm not even going to feel any way about it. He just is. Those are the facts.
Yep.
But this story warranted discussion in the Kim world and in him as a dad and what
Yeah.
has kind of come out. So
Yeah, I think it's an interesting kind of like almost case study. I hate to call it that, but this isn't about Kanye. You're right. We put like a mandate on like zero Kanye chat because I don't want to give this despicable human airtime. But in this case, I'm fascinated by Kim having to live her life with him as a co-parent.
Yep.
And I think that we forget, like, we're seeing this crazy Kanye. We're seeing this vile Kanye, this monster of a human with the anti-Semitism, with the, with the way he controls his wife and forces her to do things for the sake of his press benefit. Now, we see him backing an alleged sex trafficker and rapist. And all through all of this, Kim has to come to realize that this is the father of her children.
4 of them.
4 of
4
them.
people.
She is forever tied to him.
Yep.
And I think, a lot of my family and friends in the Jewish community have been a little bit disappointed in the Kardashians because they haven't made a statement about his anti-Semitism. And that's difficult. Like, it's such a blatantly awful, horrible, disgusting situation.
Yeah.
And like, how is he still getting away with it? Wearing swastikas? Like, I
know.
don't even want to get into it, but I think, people have been a little bit critical about like, why are they not saying anything? But I think the truth is that they're trying. I think that Kim's trying her best to protect the kids first, before she protects the Jewish community, which obviously, we're hoping that people will stand for us. But she has to think about her kids first and foremost, and nobody in the world can take that away from her. And not speaking badly on his name and not dragging him through the mud and not trying to take the kids away from him or for them.
That's a lot of grace you're giving her.
Right?
Yeah, it is.
But like, you have to think like how challenging that must be.
So this story is that he put out a song with P. Diddy, as you said, alleged trafficker who's in prison.
jail.
Actually, they called him Puff Daddy on the song, which I don't know why he's back to being Puff Daddy. I don't even know what that's about, and I don't care. I also don't know how you make music from jail, but that's a whole other thing.
It literally sounds like it was recorded with him on the
On
phone.
a prison telephone?
Yeah.
Yeah. And North West is on the song. So Kanye West put his daughter on a song with P. Diddy, who has dozens of lawsuits filed against him. And then also, of course, the big trial that's coming up in May, the trafficking and everything else.
And all of the allegations revolve around the mistreatment of women.
Yep.
And you have daughters.
And minors.
You have daughters. So like, that part is unimaginable. I just think in this case, with involving Northwest, his daughter, on this track, when he promised that he wouldn't, he actually swore, I think that they had agreed in the courts that he would not do that. And then he did, because whatever disorders he has, whatever personality issues he has, like, he's impulsive, he doesn't care. And so then Kim has to wake up to her daughter being on a track with Diddy and Kanye.
Yep.
When he promised her that he would not do that.
And then come the text messages.
Then come the text messages that Kanye leaked.
Yeah,
or
between
revealed.
he and Kim. So it looked as though in the text messages, Kim sent him a paragraph of a legal document about the trademarks surrounding their kids' names, and that he is not to use them and their names and everything that a trademark would encompass. And she said, I got the trademarks to protect them and to protect Northwest from being on this song with the Diddy song, she called it. And then he came back in classic Kanye fashion, just the most vile, most disgusting response. He said to her, what was it again? He said to her, again, I can't see anything. He said to her, amend it or I'm going to war. Neither of us will recover from the public fallout. You'll have to kill me.
Yeah. Well.
Great. Really nice. And then again, this is the person, to your point, that she's now has to co-parent with. Imagine. Like, there's no reasoning with a person like that. There's no getting through to a person like that. There's no understanding with a person like that. So that's all for naught. And now she has to probably wonder, well, what's next? What's he going to do next? Now I read somewhere today that the trademarks are actually expired.
Oh, that's
which
not
could
good.
be problematic. Yeah, I guess, I don't know how that works, if you have to kind of keep them up or renew them. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But either way, I really feel terribly for Kim in this situation, that she's constantly dragged into
for
this.
Kim and for Northwest. Like,
Yeah.
what a horrible, because North probably is too young to really understand what's going on. And her father is probably her hero, as all of our fathers have been to us when we were that age,
Of
right?
course.
So I'm sure that there's a lot of feelings that are hard to process for Northwest. Like, she's probably excited to be on a track. She rapped. I did listen. She sounds amazing.
Yeah, she does.
She's going to be like a creative superstar someday. And so I'm sure that there's mixed emotions for her about her mom wanting to block her from doing this big thing that she probably, again, she can't process why it would be wrong.
Right.
And her dad is her hero. Like, my dad is Kanye West and he wants me to be on a track. Like, imagine how a teenager, a preteen would feel.
And you could assume that when he's with her, he's preachy and he's in there and he's
probably pumping
shaping
her tires.
That's right. But he's shaping her thoughts and shaping her mind in a way that is so damaging and so scary. But you could see that he could be very he could really impress upon her his thoughts, because she is a really young kid.
Yeah.
She is.
Yeah.
I do think as time goes on, and you're right, at that age, dad hero thing, very real. I think as time goes on, she will see, and most people do see who their
for sure.
parents
She
really
will,
are.
and
You
that'll be
can't outrun that.
devastating.
It will be devastating.
Now, my feeling is, again, the Kardashians have been incredibly kind to Kanye by not shutting him down. And I think that they've done that for the reasons I explained, which I think it's for the kids and whatever, for the peace of the family. But I think he's grossly underestimating them. I would not want to go against the Kardashian group. I would not want to go against Kris Jenner. I know he will not win this war. These are incredibly powerful people that can make a lot of things happen or not happen. I think, again, they've shown him a lot of grace for the sake of the children. And I think that time is done.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And so I'm looking forward to that time because now they have license to unleash the beast, the Kardashian beast.
You're right. There's so much grace and there is protecting the kids and there's all those things to a point. Everything has a point.
Yep.
And I think you're right.
We've hit that threshold.
Let's talk about our girl, Millie Bobby Brown. We've wanted to talk about her for a while.
Yes.
And I think she's such a great person to talk about for so many reasons.
Yes. So it's interesting because I think I keep up with most celebrities and have a pretty good understanding of like who we're dealing with in on the red carpet and
you do
in Hollywood. But I never really took the time to get to know her. I think partly because I didn't watch Stranger Things, so I never really understood that hype, although obviously we would see her on all the carpets and she was a star from such a young age, like 10 years old. And so we've seen her grow up, but I have never taken the time to really get to know her.
That's fair, actually. I did not watch Stranger Things. I did interview the cast, and I have met her on a red carpet, all of them. I watched enough to be able to do my job at the time, but I wasn't a devotee of the series like so many people. But you're right. I never really followed her enough to get to know her. I remember the other thing that kind of stuck out to me in Millie Bobby Brown was when she was turning 18 and the world was really disgusting and gross about her turning 18. There was like a Reddit disgusting thread with a countdown clock over sexualizing this person who was becoming an adult. And I remember that and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And now she's kind of popped back up.
She's popped back up. And we've talked about her a few times, like in context of the Britney biopic and the fact that we felt like she was, she had dyed her hair blonde and she was it felt like she was vying for that role, which I think she has now admitted that she would love to take that role on.
I love that casting.
Yeah. But we've seen her a really big transformation this year. She's 21. Married to John Bon Jovi's son.
Jake? Is it Jake Bon Jovi?
Jake Bon Jovi. And I finally was like, what's going on here? And yeah, she's someone that, again, in the context of like Jessica Simpson and those women, like she's a woman that has taken a lot of heat, like an unnecessary, unfathomable amount of criticism.
Which she's called out.
She has called out. So I think my interest really started peaking over the last few months when we see her not just like laying back and letting these headlines happen, but she's really kind of taking control of the narrative. And how she did that first was going live on social media with a video where she had all of the headlines, the disgusting, over-sexualized, hypercritical of her body, cruel. of how she's aging, of how she dresses. And she names the headline and she names the reporter or the journalist.
Yeah. There's some of the horrendous headlines which she called out.
Yeah.
Which I loved her for doing that.
Yeah.
People were saying things like, why are Gen Z aging so terribly, like Millie Bobby Brown? She's been mistaken for someone's mom. Looks like she had a mommy makeover. And she then not only named all the journalists, called them out for being women as well, which is like,
it's gross.
It is gross. And she did say that. She also said, I will not be shamed for how I look, how I dress, or how I present myself. And that's where, I was so proud of her for coming out with that, because to have that much self-assurance at that small age of 21 is remarkable. And she has been through so much, the over-sexualizing of her as a young person, and then getting into, adulthood. She's just barely an adult.
Yes.
And now it's like, no, you look terrible, you look old, you look 40, you're not doing this right, you're bad, you're gross, we don't like you.
Yeah.
And to be like, no, I'm not going to make myself small. I'm not going to shrink. I'm not going to change. I'm going to do what I do. And I'm going to be...
Yeah, you're not going to bully me.
You're not going to bully me.
Into changing who I am and what makes me feel good and how I'm going to look and how I'm going to dress. A few things about that. We've seen her in a lot of outfits on the red carpet. And a lot of times in press tours, we've seen it with Blake Lively and a few other people where they kind of dress in theme.
Mm-hmm.
The theme of her press tour over the last few months has been dressing in clothing that belonged to iconic women of the 90s.
Oh, I love that.
So she actually was wearing gowns from people like Gwyneth Paltrow. She wore an outfit for Pam Anderson. She has been dressing in the actual clothing. Like, she has contacted these women and said, I love this dress and here's what I'm doing on my press tour. And Gwyneth was like, I got you. Put it in a box, sent it her way.
That's so great.
Apparently Pam came with a whole rack full of clothing, was like, pick whatever you want.
I love it.
So she recently went on Call Her Daddy for her big interview, which I told you I was going to listen to, and I did. And I absolutely fell in love with her. So having gone from not knowing really a lot about her to seeing her kind of stand up for herself in the press and on social media, that was the first moment I was like, wait, do I love this woman?
You do.
And then now listening to that interview in full, a 2-hour interview sit down, I'm like, she is awesome.
She's awesome.
She has 62 dogs.
Yeah, I knew you were going to love that part.
She has... It's
a whole farm.
Don't tell me it's not possible. Don't tell me my dreams are not possible, okay? Because we know they are.
There's a whole farm, though, of animals. Mm-hmm. There's like outside dogs, inside dogs. Yeah. There's like a donkey, I think. There's a whole...
Oh, yeah.
She's got a whole thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of animals.
Loving it.
You love that, okay?
Loving it. She talks about buying a home for her parents and sort of supporting her family.
Yeah, and it admitted to growing up without a lot of money, and marrying into the Bon Jovi family is very different for her because they're spendy, because all they've known is spendy money. And
I love that part.
Yeah, she's like, I wear Amazon Basics and clothes from Target.
Yeah, so relatable.
The most relatable.
So between the Target and the Amazon and the dogs, obviously we're meant to be besties.
You are.
But another thing that I just realized is, we often talk about child stars or people who've been famous from a young age, that their development, their emotional development kind of stops when they get famous. And we see people sort of like stunted in their emotional growth. This is an example of someone who is absolutely not true for.
You're totally right.
She is such an evolved young woman, definitely ahead of her time. Maybe she's the maturity that people are seeing, I think, is an emotional maturity. She's really a fully formed human. At 21, I was not like that.
There?
I don't know. Now, I have to circle back on our little chat at the very beginning of the episode where you talked about an ick that you had to overcome.
The ick of the horse-drawn carriage?
Yes. So Millie and Alex Cooper on the podcast.
Did they talk about icks?
They talk about an ick that Millie had to overcome with Jake. Okay, so she said that her biggest ick, and this is how we know she's a real girl, like a normie, because icks can happen at the most random times for the most innocuous things.
I'm so curious.
She got icks when men would pick her up at the airport. Just immediate ick for her. Don't pick me up at the airport.
I get it.
It's weird. It's gross. I don't like it. You're standing there waiting for me. You have flowers. It's weird. It's gross.
Not the flowers.
Yeah, not the flowers. And I think they talked about someone having a sign at one point.
No.
But she had to, the way that she knew that he was the one was that she had to overcome this ick. He would pick her up at the airport and she loved it. Suddenly she met someone. She was like, this is no longer an ick. You cured this ick for me. And then she married him, which I love.
I didn't think you could cure an ick.
Now,
but that's really good to know.
I was going to ask you if there's anything with Randall that at one time in another relationship might have caused you to have an ick, but with him feels like perfect and adorable.
Yeah, Randall came because so if we're using the example of the horse-drawn carriage, clippity clop.
Right.
That was intended to be a romantic gesture. That kind of like over romanticism for me is icky.
Too much.
But when Randall and I started dating, he did some really romantic gestures. I was going on a work trip over the course of 10 days. I was going to be gone, and he delivered me this note box that had a card in it for every day that I was gone. But it wasn't just like oh, I miss you, I like you. They were riddles and ciphers and clues to figure out. And it was like a scavenger hunt and an adventure. And I kept it to have it to this day.
Oh my God.
And for me, it was a very, I guess it was a very unique and original type of romance that came from a very unique and original person. And I could cry thinking about it now. It was so, and it ended with this poem. It was just so beautiful.
Wow.
And so special. But again, a poem in any other circumstance would have grossed me out.
Correct.
But a poem from Randall.
See, there you
was
go.
Like,
perfect.
Can I tell you one, not current ick, but one thing that makes me laugh? Yes. it's not quite a full ick. I don't want to say that. Randall.
I have all the time in the world for this. All the time.
We need to do a whole other episode about like our personal lives. We won't have any friends or family anymore.
Yeah.
But it'd be great.
It'll just be us.
Randall has a VR gaming headset.
He sure does.
So when I go downstairs and he's VRing and he has the goggles on.
Oh my God, the ick.
It's not quite an ick. It's just so stupid. It's so stupid to look at. He's got the headset on, and one game he plays, I guess it's archery, so he's pretending to shoot arrows. So I'm downstairs and he's like this, and I can hear the pinging. He's like, okay,
oh
a
my
previous
God,
ick that would not be an ick
funny.
with your wonderful husband. Your husband's so great.
He's great. There's always an ick.
Okay.
For me, it was early on when we were dating. And I actually had this moment, like a thought out loud, where I was like, oh no, I guess this relationship has to end now. Because I was like, oh my God, he's such a fantasy nerd.
Oh.
And I was like, what am I going to do? Yeah. And I'm like, this is so unfortunate. Like, what a great guy. Guess it just can't work out. And I actually told him, I said, I got to be honest. I don't see myself with a fantasy nerd.
Can't do it.
I can't visualize it
My
for
life.
the future.
Right.
So nice knowing you.
Right.
And he was like, that's okay. Well, let's just pause and like, let's think about it. And then I guess I knocked some sense into myself, and I was like, I can't end this relationship over that. I mean, so I was like, I guess I'll just live with this ick forever. And then it grew on me. I mean, not the fantasy.
Is he still a fantasy nerd?
Oh my God. Yeah.
I've known your husband a long time.
Yeah. When I go to bed and he's still awake,
right,
and he watches all of the fantasy, and he's like the guy that, you know, it's like he's reading all these
graphic novels. Same.
The novels that have like 10 parts.
Yep.
Like I can't even. They're like the gold and the arrow and the
horn and the shield.
Like all of that. Exactly. That's my husband. And so now I just have to live with it. But I love him still.
It's very commendable.
Yeah, so you and me and Millie are getting over the ick.
Yeah, we are. You know, for a moment, Randall loved Stranger Things, and I love the name Millie. We actually thought about Millie as a baby name for one of the kids, so Dolly and Millie. But then we realized our last name was Graham. Her name would be Milligram. So you got to say it out loud, and you got to float it to other people.
No, good for you.
But I love
because
Millie.
If you had stuck her with that would be
Milligram.
Horrible.
Yeah, I know.
Milligram.
It was unfortunate. Great name though, and we love her.
That's so cute. I love that story.
Yeah. And we love you.
Yes,
and
we do.
We love you. We love you for being here. And what we would love, if you love the show, we'd love a rating.
Yeah, rate, review. These are the things that actually help us.
Yeah.
Continue and grow and just get to do what we love to do. And so
yeah, those stars go a long way.
They do. So take a moment and do that. Give us a little love, and we love you so much.
We'll see you back here next week.
See you next week. This was fun.
Now all I'm thinking about is ick.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Randall. Bye.
Bye.